Hey everybody, welcome into what's this podcast called again? Overexerted.
I mean, it's brand new. You're still learning the titles, you know.
It's so confusing. Welcome back to Overexerted, a Disney Lorcana podcast brought to you by two tired dads. Sorry, I'm just like so flustered. I don't know. I guess I'll jump into it right off the bat. For those of you who don't know, longtime friend of the show, longtime listener, and longtime inspiration, Citizens of Lorcana has officially shut down their podcast. I finally had a chance to listen to that episode today, and that was a rough.
Tough.
Yeah, it was a rough one to listen to. You could hear a lot of emotion in that, and
when Jared was reading through his scripted piece because he didn't want to, mess it up or whatever. Like, love you guys.
Yeah. Absolutely heartbreaking. Like, for anybody who didn't see the post I put out on Twitter, I remember when I was getting into Lorcana, I hadn't really thought about listening to podcasts or anything like that, and hadn't joined any Discords or anything. I was just kind of doing my own research as much as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And when I finally said, wait a sec, you always listen to all these podcasts. Why don't you see if there's a Lorcana podcast? And that was the first one I stumbled across. And I remember listening to Jared talking about cards and releases and all this fun stuff, all the news that we scarcely had, I guess.
It was slim at that time, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I remember one episode, he said, oh, maybe I should get a co-host on here. And I remember I was a couple episodes behind, and I thought, you know what? If this guy doesn't have a co-host in a couple episodes, I'm going to reach out to him. Maybe I'll try this whole podcast thing. And I think it was 2 episodes later, James was his new co-host. And
you didn't shoot your shot quick enough.
No. Well, I hadn't caught up at that point, so I was already too late. But you know what? They were a perfect duo.
Great chemistry, for sure. Yeah. The first time that I caught them, I thought that they'd, known each other for ages, and that, this is just started from the two of them, because I only came in early May of 23 is when I first became aware of it, which is wild to me because I'm a giant Disney nerd and I love TCGs. So I would have thought that I would have been aware of this from the start. And I found out like a year later. I was so sad.
Yeah.
And I'm a year behind everybody.
I know. If only I could find a co-host that I have such great chemistry with.
Right? One of these days. Don't give up hope yet, Benny. There's still time. In fact, you were so worked up by this, so flustered, you didn't even introduce yourself at the start of the show.
Yeah, so I'm Benny, and this is my co-host. There we go. And then if you listen to our last episode of Stop Shilling Your Cards, for all those who were wondering and going, oh man, that bolt does sound pretty great. I should try and get it. Sorry, bolt's already sold. I opened up a box. I sold it for a booster box. And first 3 packs, I pulled a legendary mini.
Okay.
So everyone in chat was having a good laugh at that. I have a nice Discord message with our locals group, and somebody said, what a roller coaster of emotion this was. 3 packs in, we've hit the first legendary. Somebody goes, Tremaine, Baloo foil. I go, mini. Ha ha ha, even worse.
Even
6
worse? That's insulting to Minnie. Minnie is not worse than Baloo.
6 packs in, only rares. And then somebody said, rip that Tommy enchanted. And I tried to, Malachi. I really tried. 9 packs in, still no legendary after the mini. And then Mikey said, you've got a stack of 2 to 3 coming your way. I said 12 packs in, Baloo and Tremaine in the same pack. I think it's a bust.
Ooh, now that's a good double legendary pack right there. That's fire.
And so I said, Baloo and Tremaine, I think it's a bust. Do we open or do we flip the rest of the packs? Mikey then says, you keep going. 90% of gamblers quit right before they're about to hit it big. It should be a 6 legendary box if you got a double pack.
I feel like that's the gambler's motto, to keep getting in deeper, by the way.
So then I open the next couple packs. I go next row, all rares again, 9 packs left. And then what do I open in the same pack? A foil Tamatoa, but before that foil Tamatoa was a regular Tamatoa, a double Tamatoa pack. And that one pack was the value of the entire box right there.
Yep.
So yeah, and then right after that one, I ended up pulling the legendary Mickey as well. So it ended up being 6 legendaries.
That's pretty sweet. Like, just the count of legendaries, great. Obviously, the cards that you rip, great. But I would argue, like, I think you were comparing it to the price of the box to begin with. I would argue if you added up the value of the rest of that box, that one pack was probably worth somewhere around like 40 times the rest of the box.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I did not pull a Bell foil, which is good value in this.
That's great. Yep.
I didn't pull a Sapphire coil foil.
Yeah.
I didn't pull any other staples for Sapphire, because let's be honest. Which cards are anyone chasing other than Sapphire cards?
Literally, they're just chasing Tamatoa, and that's pretty much it. Like,
yeah.
What's funny is the value of this set's actually stayed relatively high for sealed product, but I think solely on the back of Tamatoa, between the regular and the enchanted and the foil, obviously. Literally everyone's just chasing Tamatoa. I mean, Scrooge too, that's not true. Scrooge as well. But Scrooge and Tamatoa, that's it.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of sorting to do. I'll do a quick little shot here. I've got a lot of sorting to do.
This is my sorting. Just stacks of cards in the corner of my desk that I'm going to throw in a box eventually. That's
I'm going to get you one of these, because it is 6 across, 3 deep. It is the perfect sorter.
I appreciate the sentiment, but I don't need it. I don't sort anything.
Oh yeah, I forget.
I do sort it. I just have so little to sort.
I was going to say, I forget you're not a playset guy.
Yeah. Are we done being sad about Jared and James, by the way? Because I still want to be sad about Jared and James.
You can very much be sad about Jared.
I won't belabor it. I mean, I said it all on Twitter. They're just like, when I came in May, obviously I was behind everyone. But for me, there was a few names that stood out. There was Citizens of Lorcana, there was Lumineers, and there was, I think Jaunty was pretty much those 3 groups. Obviously, it was not just 3 people. It was 5 people. Were the ones that I think stood out for me and resonated for me. Not this overexerted nonsense.
Let's get those guys off the air.
No, but those ones stood out the most for me as just being like, not only the and I hesitate to say loudest voices, but biggest voices, but also just so genuine and so relatable at the same time, and just some people really kind of figuring out both the game and this content creation space. And it wasn't over polished, it wasn't overproduced, it was just good people talking about a great game, and I love them for that, and I've been a fan ever since, and I've had the great pleasure to meet them both, to connect with them, and Jared in particular, you supported me and were really thoughtful and checked in on me when I had to take my break for a while. So I'll never forget that. And I look forward to seeing you around again and seeing Citizens of Lorcana come back stronger than ever. So,
I mean, they might have agreed to come on and do a guest spot soon. So,
notice how I know nothing about what's going on with this channel. Like, Benny tells me the day of. It's like, okay, we're doing this. Yep. You got it. Yes, boss. Yes, sir.
I'll just say one thing. The April, probably mid-April and all throughout May, other than the possible 1 week that I go on vacation.
You should go on vacation at some point, yes.
It's still up in the air. The wife really wants to go. The kids really want to go. And I go, should we not?
Worlds isn't happening, so you can just...
Well, that's... where else am I going to go if I go on vacation?
Nothing can stop us now.
Lives rent free in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we have a very, very busy schedule coming up that I do have to write out, plan the schedule, and also let Heath know about this schedule.
Let me know the schedule. What are the days? What are the times? What are the subjects? What are we talking about? Yes.
We've got artists.
Let's be proactive.
We've got artists. We're going to have some content creators, hopefully. I know we've locked in at least one. So
one and counting.
Yeah, we've got more artists and content creators so far. I would like to get a couple more content creators because it's good to also shout out and help everybody in. I was going to say,
I really take joy in having other content creators that are trying to grow. I mean, everybody's trying to grow, but I mean, I guess I would say are feeling challenged to grow. And whether they're bigger than us and, it's just another avenue or whether did I just say us?
Oh yeah. You're part of it. You're part of it now. It's official. It's official. He's one of us now.
or whether, it's just a channel that looks to grow. Like the times I've got to collaborate, I've loved that. So I'm all for it. Sign me up, boss. Let's go.
Just wait until your name now says Overexerted. Be our guest, Heath.
Right? It's gonna get a really crowded, long title. No, I've got to shill my other channel while I'm on here.
And then citizens will come back. They'll ask you to join, and then it'll be Citizens of Lorcana Overexerted
/ Hey, I will. I almost said a bad word again, Benny. I will offer myself out anywhere. I just love talking. I just love talking the game, anyone that wants to talk, I'm always open. Anyways,
what do we got to talk about?
Match the color of my hair. For all those listening, I am currently a bright shade of pink. What are we talking about? I mean, so much to talk about this week. I think the subjects that stood out for me, and I'll just kind of throw those out there and see which one you're feeling most spicy about. Where the state of the metagame is right now, it's a bit of a mess. Even
it's great.
Mr. Sapphire himself, DKP is calling for a ban. So what was the most recent major event that I know Katie, Lore Keepers In, was casting for? What was it, like 13 of the top 16 were all Sapphire? Like wild metagame results. For me, some of the other things of interest, the new Ravensburger hire, the head of tournament operations. Yes. Maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel there. And then lastly, there's a rumor going around that the qualifiers for Worlds might actually know the dates and have an NDA. So whether that stays the same, just because they told them dates doesn't mean that it actually stays that way, even if that is the case, which right now is just a rumor, so who knows if that's actually the case. So lots of interesting stuff to talk about. What are you feeling? You've got something to say.
I was really interested in the new hire as soon as I saw that pop up in my news feed today. Because you know what? I hadn't done research, I'll admit it. I'm not constantly doing research while I'm working a 10-hour job every day and raising 2 kids with my wife. But yeah, I saw that pop up quick on my news feed and I was like, hold up, what's going on here? So I'm hoping it's nothing but good news. It looks like this person has some past history in, what did they say? It was, help me out here. The video game competition stuff.
Yeah, so they've got, let me pull up the tweet specifically here. Esports. Oh, I thought you were talking about specifically. So, tournament operations director, or manager rather, for Disney Lorcana. They have been playing the game supposedly, which is great to hear. Over 10 years in digital and physical games, esports, and events. But nothing beyond that. And there isn't a last name here. So I don't even know. I'd love to look up this person's LinkedIn bio or whatever it is.
We'll just get him on.
Ravensburger. Yeah, right?
Come on, Cooper. Just come on the podcast. If somebody at
Cooper.
Ravensburger...
All right, let's look it up here. In real time, we're going to be doing some research with you all in real time.
If somebody at Ravensburger is listening, get Cooper to give us a shout, and he can be the guest on the first episode of April or May.
Let's see. Senior Tournament Operations Director for Operations Manager. I keep saying director. He's not that fancy. All right. Here we go. We got at Stephen Cooper with a double R on Twitter/X. Let's see. LinkedIn. Here we go. Okay. We got it. We got a background in esports manager for High Res Ventures, which I'm sure is a thing, out of Atlanta, Georgia. Overseeing daily operations of all esports programs, overseeing planning of both online and live events for league operations, handle prize payouts, develop and oversee a culture within the league to ensure a competitive and safe environment for players. Sounds nice. Event planning for LAN events with prize pools anywhere from 50,000 to 2.5 mil. Okay, so we got some high stakes there.
Whoa. I only play for air fryers, okay?
You're in the wrong game. That's Yu-Gi-Oh, my friend. You're in the wrong game. You're missing out. All we get is cardboard. We don't get no fancy air fryers here.
Actually, I heard a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament winner recently got a framed some of the most powerful cards in the game or something like that.
Yeah.
And he tweeted out, "Hey, if anybody wants this, come find me in this hall." And nobody came to him. And he's like, "Well, y'all are too slow. I'm getting hungry." And he just literally left it out on one of the tables and was like, "Whoever gets it first can have it."
So my summary of where he's at here, I love what I'm hearing about developing a strong culture. I love that we're talking about some higher stakes events here. So that means that it's not just kind of little piddly stuff, that it's across numerous platforms. He's also produced content on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. So there's a lot to be liked about at least his most recent work. And pretty much all of his work has been in this space, going back to pretty much right out of high school into esports. He's worked with a few different companies. So there's definitely some background there, but I notice a lot of it is esports. And I'm curious with the fact that Ravensburger was also posted a hiring around the same time for developers for online platforms. If they want to go more of the esport route than the in-person route, or at least if that's the long-term plan, right? Because to hire someone like this, whose almost entire background is esports, you would think that's got to at least be in the discussion, that they might want to either do that simultaneously or move more towards that. Also, by the way, Stephen, you're making me feel old, brother. You graduated high school in 2012. I need booze in this. Class of 2001 over here. I'm so old.
2008 over here.
That's when he started high school. Just saying. All right. So lots of good things there. But yeah, that is curious about the esports background. I'm curious about that. But I like a few things that I see. So if anyone wants to check it out, Stephen Cooper, again with a double R on Twitter, and he's got his LinkedIn bio in his Twitter. I'll pop that a follow. And we'll see. We'll see where it goes from there. It's probably going to be a while before we hear anything. It sounds like he just started. So I can't imagine we're going to hear much from him even in the next month or so, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what?
I don't know what, actually. Because you don't give me any show notes back, so I don't know what to expect at any given point in time.
I don't write show notes anymore.
So I don't know what.
One pack to rule them all.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Candlehead.
Oh, gosh. The card that when I eventually ever upload my next video, I completely dismissed.
Grandmother Fa.
Yeah, they're both semi-playable.
Panic.
Oh, I mean, super easy. That's a top pick in the set. Panic, 100%. It's going to be a while. It's going to take quite a few cards to get rid of one of the only 2 damage removal in this set.
Berlioz. Mulan.
Mulan's the best 1-drop, but still doesn't compete with Panic. Unless you really need 1-drops, but we're talking pick 1, pack 1. Mufasa is good, but he's still a 7-drop.
This guy.
I really have like a strange hatred of the 3-cost 4/3s versus the 3/4s. I'm very much a 3/4 defender and a 4/3 hater. Drew, it happened again. Drew, I gotta not be so loud. I'm gonna wake up my daughter. The Wendy versus Panic debate has come up so many times. And in the 40-born Discord, if you're a limited fan, 40-born Discord is a great place to be. But there's a lot of people in there that are pro Team Wendy in this spot, and I am very much 100% Team Panic, and I feel like it's paid off for me every time. Wendy's great, better than Mufasa, still a 7-drop. You guys are get out of here.
Heck yeah, baby. That's my 3rd one. I've been waiting for this
If
day.
you ever play that in draft, you are going to be very much regretting that. Raya, imminently playable. Still no Panic. Full coming? Oh, almost still doubt. Nope. It is Panic all the way. Panic took it home.
I mean, I'm happy I got another
Ink Geyser, right? I mean, it's no double Tamatoa, but man, if you'd cracked that on here, that would have been...
Oh, I know. Now I'm like, I guess in the next set, I am just going to have to crack every single pack on...
What we do is record every single pack like it's the only pack, and then you just slot that one in, be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we only opened 1 pack, and it was this double Tamatoa pack on the stream. That's incredible.
Oh, out of that booster box, though, you'll be happy to know that this was in the last pack that I opened.
It shall live in infamy.
Every time I see it, I'm like, I want to rip this card in half.
You obviously haven't watched my draft video that I've got up. I was so insulted by having a 8-cost Daisy last pick. I tore it up in real time. I'm like, this offends me. This is an affront to my sensibilities.
You love it.
How are you feeling about the metagame right now? I guess just about constructed Lorcana in general right now.
To be honest, I've barely changed my deck, and I'm still playing my Emerald Steel.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it working out for me? I don't know. 5th place out of 10.
Do you feel like your local group has shifted? Like, has your local group shifted more towards Sapphire?
We only have one guy actually playing Sapphire Steel, and he's actually, I think, 2 people playing Sapphire. But they've been kind of playing Sapphire since they started playing. So
yeah. So there hasn't really been a shift, in other words.
Yeah. So I can't really fault them on that. But I will say that I like the meta now, having that I pulled a foil Tamatoa and I don't play foils. Shill.
Chill it out, baby. You'll find a demand for that. What's interesting is, I think ultimately you raised a good point, which is a lot of people are getting worked up about the metagame, but we're in this echo chamber of what's on Twitter /X and these tournaments. And it's like, ultimately, I don't think the shift in the metagame is necessarily going to have at least a short-term impact on your local play group. I don't think half of your play group's going to overnight start playing Sapphire, but you may see it leak in a little bit, and that may be frustrating /annoying. Ultimately, I think unless you're playing in these big tournaments, it's not going to have as big an impact as it might appear if you're just paying attention to content creators talking about what's the meta game right now and all that. It's like, I am frustrated by the meta game. I am concerned about the meta game, but only from a big tournament standpoint. From a local meta game, I don't know that that's necessarily going to make big shifts because, one, I don't know that people can necessarily afford to, shift into this Sapphire deck right now that's going to cost them, $600 US,
Yeah.
$2,000 Canadian with whatever the conversion rate's at right now. So if you're getting discouraged or getting worried, obviously if you've seen it happen in your local metagame, then that's relevant. But if you're just kind of thinking it's going to happen, don't get too discouraged yet. Be mindful of it, but I'm just trying to keep people from getting too like Chicken Little, the sky's falling. If the local metagame doesn't actually shift all that much, it might closer to set champs, right? You might get people that all of a sudden pick it up close to set champs, or if the price comes down or anything like that. But right now, I think that you might be safer than you anticipate.
I think one thing that would have helped it, in my opinion, not completely stopped it, but would have helped a little bit, is if this Gontu actually affected Tamatoa to the point that they still didn't get to play it for free, and they still actually had to pay 2 more for actions or items. The fact that it's like, oh no, Tamatoa says free, so Gontu doesn't do anything. It's like, yeah, but your effect goes off first, then my effect. So my effect is that you pay 2 more.
This is where it's interesting because I come from a background of Magic the Gathering, and if there is additional costs applied to things, yes, your card may be free, but the additional costs are still applied. So if you can't pay those additional costs, then it's not free, right? So, or more specifically, your free only discounts the cost of the card. It doesn't account for any additional penalties on there.
And I think that's the way it should be in this too, because that would actually kind of sort some of the Tamatoa problems.
Well, it would at least slow it down a bit, right? Yeah. Ultimately, I don't know if it would slow it down enough, but it would slow it down a little bit at least.
I mean, the big problem is the fact that you can Tamatoa into dime.
Yeah.
And just get to use the dime right off the bat. And if you have like an aerial or something else out, it's like, oh, well, that's cool. I guess you gain 10 lore on this turn. I love this game.
And this is where the ban conversation, the rotation conversation is such a tenuous one to have, because on one side you've got, hey, this is egregious and it's not really fun and it's broken or whatever. And then on the other side, you've got, sure, but the metagame can adapt. And, if everyone all of a sudden starts picking on Sapphire Steel, and there is ways to do that, then maybe that'll balance it out and other decks will rise to the top. And then you've got on one side of the ban conversation, we don't want to tie our decision making around what's good for the metagame to the value of the cards, but then you've got people on the other side that are barely affording to play this game, and if you ban the cards that they just dropped $400 on, they might not stick around for that to happen a second time. So there's so many sides to that conversation that it's really hard to say there is a right answer to that.
Yeah. I almost just feel like maybe what they should have done is maybe
stop printing free on things.
Don't print free on it, but maybe also take this card and put it in a different color. Because if you put it in a different color, that solves so many problems.
I mean, it solves some of the problems for sure.
You're not ramping up to 6 just to throw items out right away.
I was saying, if they could just remove the word free from their nomenclature, from their vocabulary, just pretend the word free doesn't exist and just design cards with that in mind.
I mean, people complained about the bounce control deck. But if I didn't have a character out on the board, I can't bounce it.
Yeah.
If I don't have items in my discard, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I still get to play something for free if you can't get rid of it. So
yeah, both ends of it are potent. Yeah, especially when you got a certain 7-drop item that really likes coming up for free. Yeah, I was concerned from the start of the game with songs, quite frankly. Just anytime you can do things for free, there is the risk of it being abused. I mean, any card can be abused, but free, all the more so, right?
at least with songs, like, yeah, you get to sing the song, but your opponent still has the chance to take out that character that sang it on their next turn.
Yeah. I'm not saying that there's not some balance to it, but just for me, I'm just scared anytime that there's free written on a card. Just from my history with Magic the Gathering and seeing what's happened in that game when things have free written on it, it can get out of hand really quickly. Like sometimes I look at the cards and be like, we're 7 sets in, but then on the flip side, we're only 7 sets in. You start talking about when we're 20, 30, 40 sets in, you look at Magic's history, it's like all of a sudden you start combining so many cards that the design team can't possibly factor in all these cards and all the minutia interactions between all of them. It will eventually get there. It's not there yet, but we'll eventually get there. And so that's when really absurd things start happening. Like, this is bad, but this is not truly absurd yet, but it can absolutely get there.
Are you talking about like a 74 combo that you get to do in Magic where your opponent doesn't get to play the game because the game's already over by the time your turn ends?
There are turn 0. There have been historically turn 0 wins in Magic for sure. Yeah. You haven't even played your first turn yet.
Yeah. You just said I mulligan 3 cards and your opponent said, oh, don't worry, the game's already over. Don't even bother.
Yeah. You're like, that won't be necessary. Save yourself the shuffle. So obviously we're not there yet. So the second potential is doing a rotation instead of a ban, right? So bans tend to be more, there's an emergency going on right now. We need to get rid of this card before anything else can happen. That's effectively what happened with Bucky. I know they technically didn't ban it, but they banned it.
Bring him back, and this problem's all solved.
Great. Let's just expose new problems.
It's not. I mean, you're not playing. Like, that was the other thing is people are like, oh, Bucky's a problem because Bucky's going to create.
Just release a tiger in your house, and the rat problems go away.
Yeah, but I mean, who's creating a deck of all Floodborns? You put like maybe 3 in there.
Anyways,
Bucky solves it. Bring him back. Justice for Bucky.
So when it comes to the rotations, now it becomes, okay, we don't necessarily have the problem of there being so many sets and so many possible interactions. But the problem then becomes someone that wants to stay current with the game has to always be buying a lot of new cards. Like right now, every set to stay current with your deck, you might want to buy 1 or 2 play sets of cards. Whereas when whole sets rotate out, all of those cards are no longer playable in this format. That can make for some huge fluctuations in the decks, and thus to stay current with it becomes much more burdensome. So then, again, it comes back to the affordability of the game, which was one of their mantras at the start, right? When Ravensburger first took up this game, they said, we want to make this a very affordable game. We don't want to make this a collector's first game. Yes, obviously, especially with printing promos and all that, they want to support collectors as well.
Yeah.
But as opposed to Magic, where you've got formats where you have to have tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars to play the format.
Yeah.
They never wanted to be like that, right? So I'm not saying that a rotation would lead to that necessarily, but it will make it more burdensome for someone to stay current with the game. So there's no easy answers here. Have you thought about this before? Like, is there anything that you are leaning towards in terms of stay the same versus ban versus rotations?
Well, I used to be a Seal Song player. I used to play a bounce control deck. And you know what? You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. And now I play Emerald Steel Discard, and you know what? Plain and simple, I say, ban the crab. You take our squirrel, we take your crab. But no, I don't. I've said for the longest time, I don't want cards to get banned. I hate it when cards get banned. Yeah. Just make the game better. make a solution. Why don't we bring in what Magic has, where you're not allowed to play any cards of a certain color until this card's removed from the board. I would love to see that.
What Magic card is that?
There's cards where it's like your opponent cannot play any white cards or something like that.
Oh, yes. I don't know if it's play. There's old school Magic cards like that. There's one legend. What's her name? The Phyrexian legend that says you choose a color and your opponent can't play spells of that color, but it's like a really expensive card, so it's usually only played in Reanimator decks.
Which would be absolutely hilarious in this. Choose a color, your opponent cannot play that color. Blue's just sitting there going, so I just get to play my steel cards now? Yeah, that's it. Until you get rid of this.
Especially in Sapphire decks and Amethyst decks. Sapphire decks and Amethyst decks both tend to be, 50 of the 60 cards in their respective decks.
Yep.
So, no, I don't think they'll make something like that. But I think that's also a slippery slope to say there's a problem now, design a card to fix that problem, because they're designing so many sets ahead.
Yep.
Right? So saying design a card to fix the problem that exists now, it's like, okay, well, you'll see it in a year and a half.
Yep.
So I don't know that that's necessary. But also, I think, again, they can't be too trigger happy with this, but to some degree, I think the assessment should be, if we're missing the mark often enough in terms of unbalancing the game with our design, we need to look at, as a business, our playtest group and look at, who is vetting these as being reasonable additions to the game. And if they're continuously missing the mark, either they need more support or they need a change of people in that space, because yes, they're human. They're not going to see everything, but they got to be pretty good at it. They've got to be able to anticipate stuff like this that just breaks it wide open. Right. So I don't know. All TCGs have this problem. This is not unique to Lorcana. So saying that is a little bit ambitious. But at the same time, for me, I think about business, and I think, I constantly got to be assessing what's going well and what needs improvement. And this is one area that right now strikes me as needing improvement, along with obviously the tournament scene. Good luck, Stephen.
Tournament
and
scene.
Communications. Right? What tournament scene? So I would hope that this would have led to a conversation with their development and design team, and be like, guys, we messed up here. We got to make sure that we tighten things up going forward.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people were complaining that tons of people were playing nothing but Emerald Steel. I only saw it at set championships, and it would be like 2 to 3 people out of 32 playing Emerald Steel.
Yeah.
This is...
people are always going to complain that something is too strong.
Oh, yeah.
But
100%.
Yeah, there's a difference between that, where they're like, that's a bit of hyperbole, and something like 13 out of the top 16 are pretty much the same deck. Wild. Yeah. So no easy answers. I would hesitate to suggest jumping to anything. Like you said, I'm not really a fan of bans. Almost at all. If it really becomes an emergency situation and it's just play that or else, then maybe you got to make a case for it. But I'm not pro ban as a quick response.
Yeah. I don't know.
What are your thoughts? Tell us, because we're struggling with friends.
Yeah, comment down below.
Get in the comments. Get in the Discord. Let us know your thoughts on this, because I think it is such a fraught conversation. There's so much at stake. It's such a big decision to make one way or the other.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard for anyone to justifiably say they have the right answer. You may have an opinion, you may have a strong opinion on it, but I don't know that there's any right answer here. But don't lose hope. Your local metagame is probably relatively safe. At least most of you out there. Some of you have more competitive. If you live in Atlanta, I'm sorry. If you live in some of these competitive hives, I'm sorry. But for most of you that have, more casual leagues, don't get too distraught. And if it really turns out to be a problem, for me, I'm contemplating taking most of set 7 off as far as constructed goes. I'm leaning into my limited love. If anybody out there in the greater Vancouver area wants me to host a cube draft at your local league, let me know. Likewise in the Bellingham area. But otherwise, yeah, it's don't lose hope. Keep your chin up out there.
Yeah, I mean, don't lose hope, especially because we got a set called Fabled coming out. That's gonna be so sick.
Can we just skip to that now? Like, I hope they stick the landing on that. Because the potential is massive. It looks so good just from what little we've seen. Yeah. In fact, it's going to be really hard to play Jafar, Reign of Jafar much, because it's going to be like, can we just skip to Fabled now?
I mean, for me, it's all right as long as they do decent on Reign of Jafar. I love Aladdin, big Aladdin fan.
Oh, yeah.
I have a enchanted Aladdin that I actually bought off of Dan Regal, James.
Oh,
and I also have one that I traded one of my Bolt Enchanteds for. So I'm all about Aladdin. Aladdin is probably one of my favorites.
Aladdin's a great multiplayer card. So if you're getting distraught with regular constructed, dive into some multiplayer. Play some Aladdin, some Ruby Aladdin in multiplayer.
Oh yeah,
it's money.
I want to see more like. I think we need to just at one point just start moving over to decks being all around one film.
Hey, I've seen some tournaments where they do like 2 film. I think 1 is a little bit tight right now, but I think 2 you can do. Yeah. And I think that's, again, if you're getting tired of the metagame right now, if you're getting discouraged by it, suggest to some of your group to try some other things. Let's do a pauper tournament where it's only like commons, uncommons, and 2 play sets of rares, like 2 cards that can be rares, or do some multiplayer, or do theme weeks or something like that. Like, mix it up. There's so much you can do with this game.
Yeah,
don't get so hyper fixated on as the pauper. Whatever you want to call it, and you can. There's no official pauper, so you can make it your own. I just threw out there what I would do, but some I'm sure keep it to just common and uncommons. But however you want to do it. Mix it up a bit. Don't feel like you got to be locked into this one format. Just because it is the dominant tournament format, what does that matter to your local play group? Play what you want to play.
I mean, really, what does it matter if there's no tournaments right now?
Right? I mean, there's some great third-party tournaments going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
If constructed is your thing and you're in like the southern half of the United States, you're eating well now.
$13,000 tournaments, I'd be quitting my job.
Wasn't first place like $7,000 or something like that? I heard.
Probably.
I don't pay attention to the payouts.
I just tell the wife, I gotta quit my job and I just gotta go real hard at Lorcana.
Good luck. Yeah, honey, for sure.
Laugh me out of the house as she's packing my bags.
Right.
All right. Well, let's cut this one.
Yep.
Thank you for tuning in. Lots of love. If you haven't checked out Citizens of Lorcana's final episode, check that out.
You got to.
That way you can have a good cry and curl up in bed with a nice blanket and go to sleep easy. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, everywhere.
So you can see these beautiful faces.
Yeah, or come and find us down at where the 2 that you play at. Why am I forgetting them now?
The 2 stores?
Yes.
Oh, I play at Aegis Games in Bellingham and Screen Free Games in South Surrey.
There you go. Those are the 2. And you can find me at Tombkeeper Cards in Mission, BC, Dragon Guild in Chilliwack, BC, or Bastion Games in Chilliwack, BC. Busy boy. I don't play enough, by the way.
No, apparently not.
That's why I'm so bad still. All right.
All right.
Have a good night, everybody.